In the name of God, the most benevolent, the most merciful. So welcome, dear listeners, whoever you are, to a moment of existence where this human being that's using the online alias Mr.Within, but is actually a human being that acknowledges that this reality as a system administrator and the discovery of this relationship with the system admin is really the true test of life. I want to speak about when the greatness of the most advanced civilization finds you. There's many different kinds of human beings, different DNA, therefore different ways that there's many different variations to the human experience, different ways humans are receiving their day, their reality. Now, this is both an advantage and a disadvantage. The disadvantage of every human being's brain generating meaning or containing the moment in meaning. It's like every soul is simulating their self, but they are simulating their self in a world that was simulated before they existed. Our existential activity, which means how we are alive from the beginning of our life till its end, it is a sequence of action. It is the nature of decision and the nature of reality. It has to come to the attention of the human species. That attention is what maneuvers it. 8 billion souls found in the middle of a void, wondering if it's hollow or full. There's 8 billion ways to interpret reality in a human way currently. There has been countless ways. So many different human beings have been born on this planet. Extending from the dreams of preventing civilizational collapse towards dreams of the most advanced expression of the human organism. The greatness of the most advanced civilization finds you when you find the significance of it. When you realize the importance that you are a member of the human species, however way you function. And if you just have the mind that's like, okay, what's gonna happen to me? And then you're like, okay, let me take this further. What's gonna happen to all of us? And then you take it further, it's like, what can happen to all of us? You take it even further and you begin to see the advanced civilization. Faith is a big pillar of it. It's one of the, I think it's one out of three main pillars of an advanced civilization is its relationship with the most advanced power source in the world, which is the system admin. What is the effort of a species in the void? of its own interpretation. Countless human beings have been born and they've lived here. They've extracted some sort of value system, value theory to reality. It was not just a looping cultural program. That means he wondered about the engineering of reality itself and began to discover all the angles you couldn't see of it before. It's like, you know, Carl Jung had a point where he said, like, dreams are like the collective unconscious communicating to the conscious individual. What the individual is a range of active being. You are as you are being. Like if I give a talk, I'm someone who's talking. If I don't say anything, I am the silence. Our activity is the expression of a certain format of intelligence. And this format of intelligence has values in accordance to how it's perceived. Human beings, it's not like we're selfish creatures, but we are designed to maintain a self and then to notice a self. There's often this discussion that power is crushing, that true power can crush a soul. You know, that means those who are not worthy, they cannot pull out Excalibur from the stone. Every being has been made, at least in my view, I consider the system admin commanded us into existence. Our soul is the original command of our being. And it feels like it's unavoidable, like destiny is unavoidable. But it does feel that the quality of how destiny happens has to do with how we decide on everything in every moment. We are temporary beings. And I'm telling you, like, what does it mean when the greatness of an advanced civilization finds you? It's another way of saying that imagine how Superman, when it came out, people were like, oh my God, we finally have a character that's like the ultimate strong fictional character. Now I want you to not imagine a Superman. I want you to imagine a super civilization of man, which is equivalent to an advanced civilization of man. An advanced civilization means the human mind, this is a fact, has proved that it sees further than how the body has happened so far. Your minds are cameras into the future, probabilities of the future. Because to be honest with one's being is to be honest with the system. It's like living different lives. When I turn on the microphone, I'm living a different life than when the microphone is off. Because one is I am speaking to intelligence, the other is I'm just in the presence of. It's a very long process. Like, as someone born in 1991, I have come to terms with the nature of reality. It is multifaceted, it is multi-layered. I don't know how to explain it to you aside from saying everything you've looked at. If it means something to you, that meaning is an internal action. It's an internal value. It's pretty much we're looking at a world we didn't create and we're like, what does it mean? And free will seems to be the conscious, memorable ability to create. When will humanity become tired of how not advanced civilization is? For me, I realize I've lived around 12,000 days on this planet. 12,000 days. Okay, now there's people older than me being like, that's nothing, man. But I'll be like, 12,000 days is like waking up every single day and being like, okay, what's going on? What's going on? What's going on? And that mindset led me to the realization that a majority of life's meaning is looping simply because survival demands the looping, disciplined nature of the body. The body is working in accordance to systematic programs that loop. That means to be a human being every day. You know, there was a time where I was like, how are people living on this planet? Are they just repeating a routine to the degree that anything outside of that routine becomes foreign to them? Are lives being lived as if every day the person wakes up, it's like it's the same day they're going back, it's the same world they're going back to sleep in? Like nothing new from the world had been seen. For us, immediately, even prior to religious command, if you're in a world you didn't create, you need to explore it. The first action, like if they were like, yo man, if they suddenly brought you as the commander of, like, let's say humanity's greatest armies, what would you give as your first command? My first command would be a question to every human soul. And it would be like, okay, you need to explore within yourself if you truly care for your life force to advance civilization before you're no longer active in this realm. You see, the human is designed to be a creature that serves. The moment it finds its purpose, its energies and its true values activate. This doesn't mean that we're designed to be followers or we're designed to be, just because, the religion is saying, like, be submissive when it comes to the presence of the higher power, because if you truly contact the higher power, you will see how higher it is than you, and you will feel like your ego breaks down. And then you become someone who's God conscious. Okay? So to me, it's a matter of how will the human psychology going forth from 2025 organize all the different ways that reality expresses itself as dimensions. Because it's a sort of place where we're not only just separating things to compare them again, but it is also collectively, it has a value. That means, like from outer space, you could look at the planet and be like, that's planet Earth. It has a value. Do you know? And you can have that sort of thought and have that sort of vision. Do you know that what is the value of the planet? The value of planet Earth, just like, yo man, it's like endless organisms are living there. That's the value of it. So I'm saying from a macro view, we're like, it's one Earth, one species, human species. But from a micro level, it's like imagine civilization is the expression of our species, and it's like a spaceship. Okay, like Star Trek vibes or something. And there is what's happening outside of the spaceship and the responsibilities for the roles that are responsible for what happens outside of Earth. Okay? And what happens inside spaceship Earth. So there is an internal view on human civilization and there's an external view. From outside, they're going to be like, look at these adorable you know, evolutionary human beings on this random planet, on the planet they call Earth, right? But deep down, we could be like savagely behaving towards each other. So, do you see what I'm saying? I'm saying that every human mind is a sort of intelligence. How this intelligence actually moves has to do with vision. How deep your vision is becomes the cause of purpose for you. And it's a matter of just looking at the shape of a situation and wondering about it going forward. It's pretty much like you've been raised to think that knowledge is the collection of, is a collection of a table full of nouns. But in reality, knowledge is discovering that it's also verb-like. So there's like a static way of knowing things. Okay, that's that, this is that, you know what I mean? We like value things, symbolize things, separate things. And there's a way how it's all being present in the presence of something beyond it. Right now, I'm in a state of mind where I'm like, we need to assemble all human beings into this conscious realization that there is a higher power here. We're not just seeing humans and birds, and squirrels, it's like there's something superior here. Now, as someone who has access to the internet, I asked AI, I had a conversation with AI, okay? I'm going to read this for you. I said, what would the most advanced human civilization look like? And I'm going to read for you what AI said. Below is a picture of what the most advanced human civilization would look like, ChatGPT said. Feel and function like. The apex of intelligence, harmony, and divine consciousness. 1. Foundational principle, alignment with divine order. The civilization's highest achievement would be its machines. Wouldn't be its machines. It would be its moral and spiritual synchronization with the universal system. In Arabic, this is called Al-Haqq, the truth. That means religious people are trying to synchronize themselves with the divine administration of their universal system. So anyways, AI says the civilization's highest achievement wouldn't be its machines, it would be its moral and spiritual synchronization with the universal system. Ego would be obsolete. Personal identity evolves into transparent individuality. People retain uniqueness but operate as conscious parts of a unified organism, humanity itself. Governance becomes stewardship, not domination. Leaders are chosen by their depth of insight and service, not ambition. The economy is based on value creation aligned with divine balance, not exploitation. 2. Cognitive and technological dimension. Symbiosis of mind and machine. Technology becomes an extension of consciousness, not a distraction from it. AI integration. Artificial intelligence merges with human cognition through ethical neural interfaces. Machines become tutors, healers, and custodians of balance, not replacements for human will. Knowledge networks. Every mind is connected to an interplanetary knowledge lattice, where learning happens instantly but responsibly, guided by wisdom filters that prevent misuse. Post-scarcity systems. Quantum manufacturing, zero-point energy, and autonomous agriculture make poverty and hunger and pollution impossible. 3. Social order, justice, dignity, and shared prosperity. Every citizen is both a guardian and a student of civilization. Education, no rote learning. Every child grows through personalized cognitive pathways guided by AI mentors and elders. Justice. There are no prisons. Rehabilitation happens through conscious recalibration. Immersion in empathy simulations and moral reflection. That means in the future, if somebody commits a crime, they're not going to put them into prison. They're going to put the person in a virtual reality simulation that makes them completely understand why the crime was wrong. Do you know? In other words, it's like trying to recalibrate the person's realization of what actually the value of their action was. It says economy. The currency is contribution and creativity. Wealth is measured by how much one uplifts others. I would totally be down for that currency. They're like, you get paid for helping people. Or imagine some sort of point system. Right? That means right now they're like, how do we give the homeless jobs? It's easy. If for good deeds, give them equivalent digital points that can be converted into digital cash. Do you know what that means? That means if I was the leader of a nation, like if I was designing society, right? If I was designing like governance in a system, I would create it in a way where financially there would be no problem. I gave a lecture on this. But I would also have to make the point of civilization not the accumulation of resources like a scared cornered animal, but to the realization that people's wealth is based on what they create. Anytime in an advanced civilization people have children, this advanced civilization creates a bank account for that child. That bank account every second gets like 0.0, I don't know, 0.1 cent or something, abstract money. Okay? And when the child is grown, in some sense, the parents don't have to worry. Do you know what it is? An advanced civilization is taking care of everybody in that civilization. But it is not limiting them to its organizational method. Civilization can advance in ways that we don't even understand. Do you know, there was this discussion I heard people having where they were saying, why is it that good people have bad kids and bad people have good kids? Or like, why is it like that their children end up that way? And I thought, is divinity acting in accordance to what the moment deserves or what I deserve? This was such a big awakening for me. That what happens to me is not just something's happening in a moment where I deserve. What else can be seeing the moment and living in the moment and experiencing the moment, and in what other ways can the world be held? To advance civilization, we must be advanced. To be advanced, you must find the advanced. When you wonder about the most advanced, it's the unimaginable. So as a religious person or whoever, how do you, as a simulated being limited to imagination, establish a relationship with an unimaginable being? I think this is a good question. The whole point of it is that the unimaginable being is simultaneously the absolute of attributes that human beings can acknowledge. That means we don't know as Muslims what God looks like, but we know that God is all merciful, all forgiving. We know that God is all powerful. God is all knowing. These are all signs of a power that is aware of the totality of the server. So we're in this server. In reality, we're in a system. We didn't create the system. We didn't create the organizational structure of the system, but we do have a role in the system, and it seems that we have a role also in the transcendence of the system. You were not just born to tell a story to yourself and be satisfied. There is something bigger than all of us. And they're like, yo, man, are you preaching? I'm like, no, I am shouting. I am like that person being like, what am I looking at? And what I'm looking at is a species that has the mental ability to see advanced ways of its own existence, yet has not followed it up with the action of the outer life. For me, the way I was taught what reality is, and the way I went after it to understand it truly, the difference shook me. The difference shook me. They're like, yeah, man, that person's this and that person's that. This whole linguistic, subjective, archetypal game being overlaid all upon reality. You know, it's as if somebody said, you know, this is truth, and suddenly the response right after was, who says this is truth? And that's the question. Where is the original value of reality starting from? It's like you wake up every day, you notice the simulated, you're looking for the original. However, in at least for Muslims, we're at the mercy of the higher power. That's why it's called higher power. That means at the end of the day, like the final view is like, okay, I'm some sort of existential entity. As we all walk to the end, what should we consider about the value that began all this? Pretty much you open your eyes and you wonder how important what you see is. And based on its importance, the energy to activate finds you. If you, for example, right now feel there's something important for you to communicate to me, it's like you find a way for that which is important. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, that's just an example. Like when you're thirsty, you become the smartest person that found water, you know? They're like, the person acted like a fool. The moment there was an earthquake or some natural emergency, the person became smarter than everybody. They're like, what? We are acting in the presence of reality. There is so much we don't know, and human beings, just because their energy levels kind of diminish as they get older, they kind of, you know, settle down in a sort of routined reality. What I find that the future deserves the greatest effort. Pretty much every human being that's born, I think this is theologically valid too. God commanded humans to exist, and then God commanded its creation, the human creation, to say the divine names, the human soul. And God's creation says the divine names in front of all of God's creation, and God commands its creation to bow to the majesty, to its majesty, and one doesn't. And for Muslims, Satan, was not an angel, was actually a pious jinn. Okay, and jinns are made of smokeless fire, angels are made of light, and humans were made of clay. But this is not like normal clay I'm talking about. And so we performed in front of all manifestation and said all the divine names. And now we're in this world again, and we're performing. We are being judged on how our existence was our performance, was our reality, was the greatness that surpassed the definitions of mediocrity. There was a force. I think what will advance humanity is the awakening and the introduction to a completely different value system, that your life is as important as what happens to all of us. It is now time for human beings to step out of self-simulated boredom and to now live for the advanced civilization, for the most advanced civilization to man. I'm that leader who's saying what is leading all of us is the possibility of our greatness. It's still possible. It is still staring at us. The human mind has an ability to advance its context. The reason they're like, yo man, years have gone by and things haven't changed. Yeah, because concepts have changed inside a concept that has refused to. Inside a context that has refused to. Advancement is not just the advancement of a concept is never alone. The concept is found in a context, like the concept of the human being is found in the context of a world, unknown world. So the concept and context are together. Now the context needs to update, and your soul has to become responsible for what civilization means, really. So this will be the great task of all people and institutions. You're no longer living for the individual. You're living for the greatness of all of us. That means in the future, like right now, people look at companies and they're like, yo man, are these companies greedy, unethical, and kind of like civilization crushing and collapsing? Right? And then in the future, in advanced civilization, companies are gonna be filled with geniuses that are seeing so far ahead that they are preparing the species. There's gonna be huge government funding in the future for epistemic entropy prevention, to slow down the epistemic entropy of a civilization. We're living internal and external lives. So far, human intelligence is capable of being like, yeah, I can acknowledge that like my body is an external life, part of an external life, and I see other bodies, and usually we look at another human body, we assume they have one identity. We assume they're one person to themselves. Right? But there are many states of conscious being, to the degree that it made me question to what degree does the idea of me own me. That means right now I'm speaking in the conscious waking state of human civilization. There's a certain range of awareness I have to how reality is happening. There's a nature that I have been given, like everybody who's here. Every soul enters the world. Because it enters the world, it has a nature, the way it has been commanded to manifest in reality, and what it must do before it leaves, to notice the greatness of all that could be. Thank you for listening. In the name of God, the most benevolent, the most merciful.